Today we celebrate the 4th of July. Happy Independence Day to all of America and to all of the world. And we have a president that believes in communicating directly with us. He tweets directly to us. And I think because we are in America and it is an Independence Day celebration, I think it's only fitting that we are all able to make our own message to President Donald Trump and communicate directly with him. And I'd like to today communicate directly with President Donald Trump and with Jeff Sessions. We have the arrest of two very notorious people on the streets of Los Angeles. One of them being Reggie Wright Jr., who was and I should say Officer Reggie Wright Jr. He was a sworn law officer at the Compton Police. He received a disability benefit that he's had for since 1996, and he was disabled when he was working for the Compton Police Department. He was in the Compton Police Corruption Report in a PO book that a drug dealer had been confiscated from. And so his drug dealing activities probably date back to 1996 when he was on the Compton Police Department. Officer Kevin Hackey gave a statement to the LAPD and said that this same Reggie Wright Jr. used to rob the inmates inside of prison inside of the jail when he was a jailer. Kevin Hackey also said that Reggie Wright Jr. was known for robbing drug dealers. And former lead detective, LAPD lead detective Russell Poole had uncovered that the murders of McDonald and Burrell that happened in Compton were direct retaliation because drug dealers had been ripped off in Compton. And the way that would work is it would be a shakedown by the police. The police would then rob the drug dealers of whatever money and drugs they had on them and let them go, because putting them behind bars, that's not going to be profitable. So they would rob the drug dealers. They would say that that was their tax. And those drug dealers came back and retaliated against those two cops. And the cops got shot and killed. And my understanding is that the man who is behind bars for that crime is an innocent man. He's not guilty of that crime, at least. Let's put it that way. And so these guys have been wreaking havoc for many years. And Reggie Wright Jr. became the CEO of Death Row Records. And Death Row Records was in complete and total confusion until Biggie Smalls was killed. Police officer Kevin Gaines was killed by Frank Liga, and then the confusion at Death Row Records ends as the reins are handed to Reggie Wright Jr. And Sheriff Lieutenant Reggie Wright Sr. is also arrested. And Death Row Dave tells us that these guys, he wondered how they were able to remain out of prison this long because of all the cash and drugs that were going on back then. And so we know that this has been going on for a long time. Percy Paradin used to ride with Reggie Wright Sr. Eric Paradin used to ride with Reggie Wright Jr. And so there was a loophole in the system where cases were kicked by the DA's office, and then that evidence would just simply disappear. It was no longer tracked. And that evidence was being put out on the streets by the corrupt Compton police. Mayor Omar Bradley says that from the time Suge Knight was put in prison, so we're talking about after Biggie's killing and after Frank Liga kills Officer Kevin Gaines, the confusion at Death Row Records ends. Reggie Wright Jr., officer, Reggie Wright Jr., is put in charge. He wasn't an officer at the time, but he was retired from the Compton Police on a disability benefit at the time. He was put in charge of Death Row Records, and the confusion all ended. And Death Row Records and the corrupt Compton Police Department functioned as one single entity, and they continued to wreak havoc on citizens. Now, citizens are coming forward and they're talking about cases that were put on their loved ones, and their innocent loved ones were sent to prison because of the work of the corrupt Compton Police Department. And Donald Trump and Jeff Sessions, I would just say this: there is a complete media blackout on the fact that a retired lieutenant from the sheriff's department in Los Angeles has been arrested on serious drug trafficking charges. That has not popped up anywhere in the mainstream media. Just a tweet from you to acknowledge that you know that a former sheriff with deep, deep ties into law enforcement, the DA's office, celebrities, just an acknowledgement from you that you know about this case, and that this case could lead to your campaign promise of draining the swamp being fulfilled. And this message goes to Jeff Sessions too. You have two very big fish that you have now captured. Now it's up to you to do the right things here and to leverage this and get additional convictions and get additional cases put on people that have been gaming the system for a number of years. It's time for the swamp to be drained. It was a campaign promise of Donald Trump. Now President Donald Trump has the ability to do this, and Attorney General Jeff Sessions has the ability to drain the swamp too. And these are very high-profile people. Make no mistake about it. These two people could lead to the Los Angeles swamp being drained. And this is my Independence Day message to President Trump and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. I would invite all of you to tweet this message to them, to let them know that this is going to lead to the Tupac Shakur murder being solved. This is going to lead to the Biggie Smalls murder being solved. This is going to lead to many, many bad people stopping the poison from being put on our streets, affecting our kids. Last night I saw somebody whose daughter has been affected by this whole opiate epidemic that's on our streets. I see the struggles that they're going through. We need to put an end to it. We need to make this poison disappear off the streets. Let's work on stopping the demand, but let's also work on stopping the supply. We have the power. We are the people. Today is Independence Day. Today is the birthday of America. Let's all get mobilized. Let's crowdsource the news, and let's make America great again by draining the swamp and get behind ending this corruption that's going on. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, a Republican, an independent. We need to all come together for this one issue, and that is the poison that's being put out on the streets of America. Let's get behind the effort to stop this poison from affecting our kids. And let's teach all of our kids that they make good choices, they can have a good, productive life. Bad choices are going to lead down the wrong track. That's the message today. Happy Independence Day to all of you.